I'm going to make a cannelloni for my pescatarian friends out there. This is a salmon and spinach cannelloni. It is delicious and it's really lush because I'm going to serve it with a cheesy, creamy sauce. Now we need to get our onions into the pan so they can start to soften. So that's one whole onion that I've chopped along with 2 cloves of garlic, and I'm just going to bruise and then finely slice the garlic. And then this can go in. Now this is the stuffing for the cannelloni. I'm stuffing it with the combination of spinach and salmon. And over here, I've just started to cook the salmon. It's not completely cooked all the way through. It's 600 grams of salmon, skin off, bones out, cooked at 100 degrees for 10 minutes. You'll see that it just flakes away. That's what I'm looking for, because once I've spooned it into the cannelloni, it's going to cook again. And you don't want it to be too chunky because it does need to fit into the little cannelloni shells. The onions are looking perfect now, and I can add the spinach at this stage. 2 or 3 really big handfuls of baby spinach. Give that a good toss in the onions and you'll see it cook down straight away. Perfect. And I'll add some cream now. Now I'm going to start with some cooking cream for this because it thickens up quite fast. So a good amount in there, about 100 millilitres. Beautiful. And lots of herbs. Think of herbs that go really well with fish. And for me, that means tarragon and dill. So I've got 1 big bunch of dill and I'm going to chop this, roughly chop it. Plenty. And then the tarragon also I'm going to chop. We don't want the woody stalk, so just the tops of this. And now, once this thickens up, and you can see how fast this thickens, we're going to add all those herbs. The heat's going to go off. And I'll also add a little pinch of salt at this stage and a good crack of pepper. Now I need some zing in this, so naturally I'm taking some lemon and I'm going to zest at least half of this lemon, and I want the juice of half of this lemon too. Perfect. And then I'll just move this over. And a good squeeze of lemon straight into this mixture. It's automatically going to make it lighter. Now I'm going to give that a good stir, and don't add that lemon zest when the heat's on because you're going to lose a lot of its flavour. Wait until it's off, along with those herbs there. You can see that everything's going to stay that lovely green colour. Okay, this is looking good. Now I want to split this in half. I want to put half of this mixture with the salmon, so I'll portion that out. Perfect. And the other half goes into a bowl. So I'll just take this large bowl here and then we can pour it in here. This is going to be for the base of the cannelloni and the top of the cannelloni. So in it goes. Perfect. Now before I start to mix this, I just want that mixture to cool down a little bit because I don't want it to overcook that salmon. So even just spread that out and it'll cool down much faster, and I'll put that out of the way. Now moving on to the other half of the mix, I did say this is rich and lush, so I need lots of cheese. Cheddar cheese, a few handfuls of freshly grated cheddar cheese into that mixture. I need some egg yolks to bind, so 1, let's say 2 eggs, so I'll separate that. Whites can go in 1 bowl. I'm going to collect this in my fingers, just to make sure we don't have any of that white in there. If you put the white in, I find that the mixture gets a little bit too eggy. The egg yolks just make this sauce even richer, so leave those egg whites out and you could use that the next day for an egg white omelette, or these freeze really well. Next time you want to make pavlova, you've got egg whites ready to go, so no wastage. Perfect. Now we need some extra cream, and my choice of cream for this is a little bit different. I'm using some creme fraiche because I really like the tanginess of it. So I'm going to start with 200 millilitres of that creme fraiche. And just by looking at this, I know I'll need a little bit more because this has to coat the bottom of the cannelloni and the top. So an extra 100 millilitres, which is about half of this carton, can go straight in there. I told you this was rich, but I tell you what, you don't need a lot of this to be completely satisfied. For some extra cheese, I've got some Parmesan, so half of this Parmesan can go in. Beautiful. And now I can give this a really good mix to combine it, using the back of that spoon there just to break up those egg yolks. And you can just imagine when this is in the oven, in a hot oven, this is going to bubble away and all that cheese is going to become really gooey and sticky. Yum. Okay, this sauce is ready to go. Let's put it to the side and let's start filling our cannelloni. So we'll go back to this mixture. It's cooled down nicely so we can mix it together. You can mash up some of that salmon with your spoon because it will make it easier to fill the cannelloni. One thing I have forgotten here is a little bit of nutmeg. Nutmeg is fantastic with this, so just finely grate, 1/4 teaspoon. You don't need too much, just a little bit in there. And we'll give that one big mix. Great, now that's the filling done. In a baking dish, a medium to small baking dish, because I'm going to fill 10 cannelloni, we're going to add half of this mixture to the base. Now, when you're making cannelloni, always put sauce on the bottom and the top so it stays really moist when it's cooking in the oven. So spread that out. And now we can start filling. So the cannelloni, these instant cannelloni are fantastic because they cook quite fast. The best way is to use a teaspoon and start from one end, press some of the salmon in, and then just with the back of the teaspoon, just force it into the tube. Now it's a little bit fiddly, but I promise you it's worth the labour. Now once I've filled these go into the sauce, and then I'm going to top it with more sauce. Now I'm going to add a little bit of this Parmesan cheese over the top, just a small amount, and we can get this into the oven. Now, I always like to cover my cannelloni with a little bit of Glad foil, just to make sure that it does stay moist throughout the cooking process. So one big piece, cover it up nice and tightly, and this goes into the oven 180 for about 25 to 30 minutes. Then I'm going to take the foil off, put the grill on, and just finish it under the grill for about 1 to 2 minutes until it's bubbling and golden brown. Golden brown, that's what we're looking for this cannelloni. And I did test it just with a sharp knife here. If it goes in quite easily, you know that the pasta is cooked. And then I'm just going to cut a nice big wedge out here. Oh, I can smell all those herbs, fantastic. And then just pick that up and then straight onto a plate there. You know, I love any type of cannelloni, simple ricotta and spinach. I love the bolognese style, but I really love changing it up and using seafood like this. This is fantastic for a Friday night dinner with a big group of people. And I like to finish it off with some fresh dill sprigs, just a few on the top. Why not? And I must have a taste of this because I love cannelloni, any type of cannelloni. And let's have a look inside this. I want to show you that salmon. Oh, there it is. See how perfectly cooked that is? This is piping hot, but I'm going to take the risk because it smells so good. That is so good. You know, this is a perfect balance. You've got the salmon, which is slightly light, but at the same time, it's quite moorish because of the cream in there and the cheese. I'm going in for seconds. So good.